Welcome back, everybody. Some familiar retail names have filed for bankruptcy as the coronavirus pandemic decimated the industry. So far, we've seen J.Crew and Neiman Marcus already file for Chapter 11 protection. Many other consumer names are on the brink, including JCPenney and Stage Stores, both of which could reportedly file soon. And then there's Hertz recently receiving a debt restructuring extension. Joining us right now to talk more about this is Meghji. He's the founder of M3 Partners, which is a New York-based consultancy firm that's focused on financially distressed companies. And Mo, thank you for being with us today. It's good to see you.
Good morning, Becky. Thank you for having me.
You know, the big question about these restructurings, these bankruptcies, is how much of this is going to be a restructuring where the company comes out the other side, and how many of these are going to be in situations where the stores close and they don't come back?
Indeed, that is the single most important question. I think there's two categories of companies. Stage Stores actually filed last night in Houston. Houston is now becoming bankruptcy central for the United States, both from an energy and retail perspective. Neiman Marcus filed there as well. I think you're going to see post-COVID-19, you're going to see a significant reduction in the retail bricks and mortar footprint in the United States. But out of Neiman and J.Crew, both of those companies have gone into these filings with what we call prearranged plans and financing to allow them to exit from bankruptcy. Having looked at Stage Stores briefly this morning, it does look like they're going to look for a buyer, or they're going to try to liquidate.
Yeah, this was something that was happening already. Retail was under siege even before the coronavirus came along because of how consumers are really changing the way they shop, the big threat they face from online. What do you think happens to the malls from here? There's no doubt in my mind that the next shoe to drop, and this will be a few months out, is the malls and REITs that own the malls are going to have a lot to contend with in this process. In my view, it's difficult for there not to be a significant shrink in the retail footprint. I see 25 to 35% of the bricks and mortar stores in the United States, all of who, as you point out, secularly have been beaten up by e-commerce. But the COVID-19 pandemic has really accelerated this process. And I see that having a large impact on the REITs going forward as well. If there are 1,000 malls in America, how many of them do you think will still be standing 2 years from now?
Look, I wouldn't be surprised if as many as a third of them, and that's a gross generalization, are not around. The question is, what do you do with that, real estate? How do you redevelop it? Is there sufficient demand in a post-COVID-19 economy to redevelop that? But over a long period of time, there's going to have to be a reduction in the retail footprint in the U.S., which, by the way, has been multiples of most Western countries.
You're not an analyst, somebody telling us what to do with our money, but that is not an endorsement of the REITs. Would you put your own money in a REIT at this point?
I would be very careful. There's certainly some economic downturns. I would certainly not say that every REIT is not going to be around. I think economic downturns bring cyclically great opportunities, and I think for the topmost REITs, and again, I'm not an investment analyst, but I certainly would look at buying some REITs, maybe not immediately, but sometime in the next 3 to 6 months, once one can understand what's going to survive and what's going to have to financially restructure.